Welcome to the What If podcast with your hosts, Spencer Worth Davis and Ryan Copperrood.
You want me to do the intro for you guys?
Yeah, sure.
Would you like to do the intro for us?
This is the What If podcast with, well, how do you want to be introduced?
Just like this?
Yeah. I mean,
exactly like you just did it.
Well, there you have it. The What If podcast. And I'm your special guest. Sims.
What up, Sims?
Hey.
I kind of wanted to just let you go for as long as you would just run the podcast.
I would
you know what,
naturally
Sims? You do this today.
Yeah, we do this
we work too hard every week. Yeah.
You know, about, the what ifs of it all. Is it not?
Is it not?
Is it not? Am I not? Well, yeah.
Happy New Year, Sims.
Hey, Happy New Year to you. And
we were just talking about off air that your year started in a difficult way today.
no, it was fine. It was a very first world problem thing.
Yeah, for sure.
I had to call a tow truck to get someone else to fix my car.
Yes.
Because your wheels are falling off.
Yeah, I just ride the shit out of it.
Well, we appreciate
I made
you.
a promise to ride it till the wheels fell off, and it happened last night. The end of 2017, about the last hour of 2017, the motherfucking wheels fell off. I wrote it.
Did you cheer? Were you like, oh,
I
success?
wrote it. I did it. Fuck you, 2017. I did it best I could.
I live in this ditch now.
You know what? I thought for a
Built an
while, I
igloo.
was like, well, so I just live in this parade stadium parking lot, and that's just how it's fine.
Well, thank you for dealing with 30 below temperatures and car troubles to come hang out with us on the pod today.
I'm very excited to be here.
Delightful. We've had some of your kind on the show. Steph has joined us. That was an old live episode. That was from like almost a year ago now.
True.
Crazy. Spencer, how was your New Year's?
It was cool. I actually watched Steph rap.
Speak of the devil.
He did a great job of rapping.
Fantastic.
Yeah. First half is always a good time.
As the passage of time from last year into New Year, and we don't actually plan out our questions ahead of time.
It's very appropriate this right now, though. It's a new year, and we're talking about time.
True that, yo.
Yeah.
But what is our time question? We didn't even come up with it.
We're talking about weird time shit.
What if time was weird? Spoiler alert, it super duper is.
Like timeshares?
Yeah,
Yes.
you trying to have a condo in a weird place?
Well, what if?
What if
Let's
Sims,
break this down.
Hey.
What if Sims bought a timeshare?
What if? Let's talk about timeshares. I'm glad we got you guys here with your time, because we're gonna now talk about timeshares.
Do you want a free set of golf clubs? Just listen to this 45-minute presentation about
How
this
weird
condo
time
you could
is.
buy.
Yeah.
Well, what about time?
Well, I think let's start with your story, and then we'll get into the weirdness of time after you tell your time story.
Oh, it's about as weird as you can get.
right, well,
I don't
then
think it's the one that you think it is either. So this is gonna be fun for everyone.
Oh, delightful! Because I didn't research the one you sent to me.
Great.
With the intention of you telling that story. So this is a different story.
Yeah.
Oh,
But for the listeners, what's the difference?
well,
I'm
get
gonna
your
tell-
hot cocoa and settle down around the fire.
This is actually the suggestion for this came from one of our listeners and reminded me about what a weird story this is.
Shout out you guys.
So it's a story. It comes from a book called The Vertical Plane, written by Ken Webster,
Already into it.
which is a very difficult book to find, although it's been re-released or reprinted recently, but only in the UK. So if any of our UK listeners want to help us out and try and find a copy of it, that would be awesome, because the used copies on eBay are like $800.
We'll shout out your weird zine or website if you send us a copy.
Yes, or I'll just pay you for it.
We could do that
We can
too.
also do that.
If you prefer financial compensation.
But in 1984, there's a gentleman named Ken Webster, who is also the author of this book. And he's living in Dodleston, UK, near the border of Wales.
Why are all their cities so cute? Dodleston. They all have like weird, adorable names.
You just dawdle around in Dodleston?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because they're old and English is weird. I don't know.
Nah, no, that's good enough.
And Ken and his girlfriend Deb and their roommate Nicola are living in a small house that they're in the process of renovating. And while they're doing this, they start having weird poltergeisty type experiences inside the house.
Bummer.
So the first one, they paint one of the walls and they go out for a while to let it dry. And when they come back, there are footprints in the paint on the wall.
Classic.
It's not where feet go.
Classic ghost move. Walking around on your walls while you're gone.
It's not where those feet are supposed to be.
when they would come back from being gone for a while, stuff would be stacked up. Like there would be a pyramid of cat food cans in the kitchen.
Sounds like Skinwalker Ranch.
Things
kinda.
like that. Yeah. Yeah, just poltergeisty stuff. Things would fly across the room at random times, and they would hear weird noises and things like that. After a while of the poltergeisty stuff happening, they thought somebody was just coming into their house and probably fucking with them while they were gone. They didn't think it was ghosts. After a while of this happening,
Someone who walks on walls?
well, yeah, I don't know. You're playing. It's a prank, bro.
That's true. I guess you
Put
could.
my baby on your wall and he walked around.
Or you put baby shoes on your hands and just go
Yeah,
boop, boop,
right,
boop,
right,
boop.
right.
All right. Fair.
Ken brings home a computer from work one day. He was a teacher at, I think, a high school. And it was 1984. So by computer, it was like it was basically a typewriter.
You drove a truck home with a computer in the back
No,
of
it was like the very early stages of personal computers.
All right.
It was basically a word processor.
All right.
It was kind of all it could do. It was a BBC Micro was the name of the computer. And basically all it could do was you could type on it. And after it had been in their house for a day or so, messages started showing up on the computer in the form of text files. So there would be a file,
Great show.
Great show? Oh, the text files.
Yeah.
The text.
X-Files comes back on Wednesday, by the way. The new season. Yeah. Sims is nodding at me.
Sims is nodding on a podcast. Wait, where is that on Fox?
Yeah.
Is it?
Also, because this is probably relevant to our listeners' interests, Fox on their website now is streaming all episodes of the X-Files.
Is that why they pulled it off of Netflix?
Yeah.
Got
So
it.
it's not on Netflix anymore, but if you just go to Fox's website, you can watch all of them.
Is it free or
Get
you
caught
just
up
have to
before
watch
Wednesday.
commercials and shit?
I think they just have ads inserted, yeah.
Cool. Oh, it's the beginning of their centralized streaming hub, isn't
Dude,
it?
it's going to suck.
It's gonna suck.
Yeah.
All right. Carry on.
So they start getting these text files showing up on their computer that they didn't write. And they were written in really like old-timey English. And so, for instance, one of them said, "Thou art godly man who hath fanciful woman who dwell in mine home with lights which devil maketh. 'Twas a great crime to hath bribed mine house."
This house beeth crappy.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
So these are just like saved on the whatever the 1984 version of your desktop would be.
Well, there was no internal hard drive or anything like that. You had to save everything to 5.5-inch floppy disks.
So it was just like open on the screen?
It showed up on the floppy disk, I guess. I don't know.
Okay.
And in addition to the messages on the computer,
See, this is what I'm saying. There was 11-year-olds have always been fucking pulling fast ones over on everybody for all of time.
right? And that was their reaction was just like somebody's fucking up with us while we're out of the house. Like one of my students knows that I have this computer and he's messing with me or something like that. And it's a small village, they probably didn't lock their doors and stuff.
I'd look at the grocer first because the neatly arranged pyramid of cat food. That's where I would start if I was a detective.
That's probably a
in
good idea.
1865.
It was 1984.
I thought you were talking about the first computers.
In 1865?
Sure, yeah.
No.
Sure. Computers.
Not those ones.
5.5-inch floppy disk. Sure. Computer.
So in addition to the messages on the computer, if they would leave scraps of paper lying around, the messages would also show up there.
Okay.
So like if you just set a piece of paper down by the computer, there would be a note on it from LW when they would get back.
Oh, LW. So they're signed.
They're signed with the initials LW. Yeah.
Were they written in like calligraphy, old-timey calligraphy?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know what the handwriting was like on the paper notes.
I wish it was calligraphy. Calligraphy is tight.
It might have been. And the messages were so, like, that was one of the more straightforward later ones, but some of them were so...
That was straightforward?
Yeah, some of them are so dense, like... Mine godly fool, mine linkman thinketh that thou art be all in mine pan. He saith that me maketh lick diversity, but I know that live know he also... Like, they're incomprehensible, basically.
We'll post some of these on whatifpodcast.com.
And so he takes them to this guy that he works with, Peter, who knows a lot about old-time English, and he deciphers some of them for him.
I took a Brit Lit class once, and we had to read an old British literature book called The Fairy Queen. Have y'all heard of that book before?
No.
It's like a classic old British book, and it's technically written in English, but the left side is the British English version, and the right side is like the English version, because it is entirely indecipherable. Even though the words are English words, it's all like that shit. You can't even
basically just a different language.
Yeah, for sure.
So this guy, Peter, they worked with would translate the messages for him. And he said that it was accurate to probably the 16th century in terms of what English would have been like at the time. And that there were no references to anything after the 16th century or to any form of modern English in them. So if somebody was fucking with them, they knew a lot about what 16th century English looked like.
They knew more than a grocer or an 11-year-old?
Most likely.
Maybe.
Yes.
Or they were in some freshman lit class. Come on.
It were all snippets from the Fairy Queen, just pasted into Word doc.
Right. I mean, they could have been copying something, but this LW eventually reveals himself as Lukas Wainman and says that he's living in a house at the same site that they are living, except that it's 1545.
How's he in their computer, though?
It's a great question.
We're getting there.
Yeah, I'll get to that in a second.
All right.
Remind me if I forget. So he tells them about, like, this is where I live. I keep livestock. I'm married. I have a kid. We all live in this house, except my other kid who died from the plague in 1517. And he says they studied at Brasenose College in Oxford.
See? Cute.
Yeah.
Cute name.
Brasenose is a cute name?
It's all cute and weird, bro.
Yeah, sure. And wait, you just asked a question.
I asked how the guy from the 1500s got inside his computer.
So this is skipping ahead a little bit, but he says that he wasn't, because my question was like, a guy from the 1500s sees a computer, right? Because he's saying that, like, well, let me back up even further.
Go ahead.
When is the printing press?
Not in the 1500s.
That's what I'm
Stuff
saying.
was handwritten still.
Right. But the first computer was like
Yeah.
1840, right?
The first computer?
Right. And then, but the printing press was like just before that.
The printing press was 16 something. We looked
googly moogly.
we looked this up when we were doing the Voynich manuscript thing, because
Oh,
that
you're
was
right.
handwritten, and that was 1640 something.
Right.
So this would have been pre-printing press.
So LW's very intrigued by this.
Yeah, and
I'm
he-
just caveman.
device he's discovered.
yeah, basically, he says that the way that this thing showed up in his house, the devil lights as he calls them,
Yeah.
was he saw this like green glowing thing.
Unfrozen caveman lawyer. This is amazing.
He sees this green glowing thing on his wall, and somebody walks through it, and they put this thing in his house. And the guy who put this thing in his house called himself One.
Like it.
You have an answer to the printing press question?
I do. I thought it was earlier. It is. It's 1440. Was the
1440.
1440 was
That's
the
earlier
was the
than I
very
thought.
first
I
printing
was only
press
off by 200 years.
documented.
So I guess there was a printing press.
Movable type as far back as 1040.
What?
What? How about the first like typewriter? What are we talking?
I've got
19
etchings in
1889?
1515,
1989?
lithography in 1796, offset printing came in 1875.
Typewriter is 1868.
Okay.
So this weird guy steps out of a portal and puts a computer in his living room.
Who is it? Is he a Phaeton?
His name's One. I don't know.
Yes, probably.
Well,
And LW, Lukas, says that if he just speaks near the computer, or the lights as he calls them, then these things end up on there. So he's not sitting down at the computer and typing stuff out. He's not navigating a keyboard somehow. He's just saying stuff. They had text-to-speech, I guess, in
this is
1545.
amazing.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Okay.
What else you got?
And sometimes it's manifesting on the computer, and sometimes it's manifesting on the pieces of paper if there's paper laying around. And once or twice he managed to write stuff on the floor. And there are photos of said floor writing in the book, and we can probably post those images.
Wait. That's important. That a thing that you need to re-say.
What?
He said that there was writing on his floor.
Yeah, so 1984, Ken is saying that writing from 1545 Lukas sometimes showed up on his floor and or walls.
Sure. In dog's blood. Sure, yeah. Yeah, sure.
It was chalk. It was chalk.
It was
actually.
chalk.
Yeah.
Was it really?
Yeah.
A little fishy.
Hold on. It's going to get fishier.
I mean,
because children have access to nonstop chalk.
especially
Good point.
Especially in the 80s, that was like all kids did.
Especially children who are in trouble constantly. Mischievous children who have to write things on the blackboard.
Multiple times.
I pocket some chalk afterward and go fuck with the neighbor.
let me counter
Or their dad.
your skepticism, Sims.
Please.
In addition to the writing, Ken decided to leave a picture next to the computer one day, and he left a picture of a car, like he tore out of a magazine. And he left for a few minutes.
It was a Countach.
I think it was a.
I don't know what that is.
I don't know what you
It's a
just said.
Lamborghini Countach. Okay. You find that in the book fair posters with lightning behind it.
Ooh, strong.
Sick car.
And you put that on your ceiling and just pray every day you
Definitely
get one
do.
day.
You get those Matt Christopher books, the kid who only hit home
Oh
runs.
yeah.
Oh,
That's right.
That's going way over my head.
Well,
You never read Matt Christopher books?
What is a Matt Christopher book? Please hold.
Yeah.
anyway.
Anyway,
Book fair books, doesn't matter.
so he took a picture of the Lambo and put it next to the computer, and they left for a few minutes. And when he came back, the picture was gone, and he had another note from Lukas, who wrote,
Thanks for the car.
Sick.
Sick whip, bro.
Lukas wrote, "My good friend, I have found your picture of the cart, but it is a crude thing, for without a horse it won't go far. Tell me what type of wood this is. It is like silk." And
Okay.
I think he was referring to the picture, not like he wasn't saying the car was made out of wood. He was saying like, what is this paper, basically?
Okay. Sure.
But- Which is confusing to me because I would have had more questions about photography, which hadn't been invented for another 300 years.
He just thought it was a really good drawing.
Like a tiny, tiny painting on
Like
some
a
sort of
very
really
nice
shiny
painting.
paper.
Yeah.
Right. So that, however, happened while his girlfriend was in the house. So if someone was sneaking in and leaving messages on their computer, they were doing it while she was home, or I guess possibly she was doing it.
Yep.
Maybe I didn't really counter any of your skepticism.
She is proactively trying to drive her man insane.
Or maybe she is having an affair. And
I don't know,
and the other
honey,
dude
may-
is just.
I don't know,
know,
honey. Maybe
yeah.
it's a man from the 1500s.
Maybe you're
Tell all
going-
of your coworkers.
Maybe you're going insane. Maybe you should kill yourself.
Maybe you should sign over all your property to me before you do anything crazier, honey.
So, a
I
friend,
guess that's definitely the wife or girlfriend at this point. So we know.
a friend of Lukas's.
I love that we're doing like NCIS on a case from the 1500s.
No, it's from the 1980s, bro.
well,
Come on.
both. It's from both,
Keep
I
up.
think.
Keep
I
up.
think it's from both.
Except it's not. Is what we're getting to here. It's just from the 80s and it's just a girlfriend.
Sam's, the show's called What If, my guy. The show's called What If There Was a Portal.
And I'm your guest or not.
A friend of Lukas's then starts communicating with them, and it turns out that Lukas has been arrested for heresy and is being held by the local sheriff because the light box is the devil's work.
Ooh, so he ran around his 1500s town being like, guys, check out what I
Gotta
got.
go.
I found something pretty cool.
The friend also tells them that Lukas was a pseudonym and not a real person. Lukas is pretending to be somebody else because he was skeptical of the demons that he was communicating with.
Oh, sure.
Because, 1500s logic.
As you do.
Yeah. Lukas is released from whatever dungeon he was being kept in, and he's now on house arrest and starts communicating again.
Did they have house arrest in the 1500s?
Apparently.
How did they enforce house arrest?
With the anklet.
What kind of, like, just a heavy,
It was just
a ball and chain?
low
Yeah.
tech.
A very heavy ball and a very long chain.
Yeah.
All right, carry on.
So then he starts telling them like, hey, this is starting to go poorly for me. I was just kind of fucking around with this and testing because he also thought he was being pranked by someone.
He's like, can you get the fuck out of my house so I don't have to go to jail
Well,
anymore?
he's back in 1545 thinking that someone's also messing with him because he can't possibly be communicating with someone 400 years in the future. And he's now starting to suspect that like maybe he is or maybe something weird is happening. And so he asks them for information about the future that he can relay to the sheriff to prove that this shit is really happening and he's not summoning demons in his house.
Yeah, because that won't totally make you look crazier if you come back to everybody like, no, I got a prophecy.
Well, I'm not saying it worked. This is just what they attempted to do.
This was his...
in this almost certainly fictional story.
Sure.
It seems pretty true, actually. It's kind of checking out.
It's going to get weirder.
Perfect.
So they give him some information to use as like a bargaining chip with the authorities. It doesn't work, and he goes to trial.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I don't understand what logic is going on in your head if you're like, guys, I can see the future. And they're like, no, you can't. That's a demon. Please stop doing that. And you're like, wait, I can prove it to you by bringing back something that no one else has proof about because it happens in 400 years from now. Like, what is the logic in your brain?
You're going to prove that you're communicating with demons?
Right.
Yeah,
Like,
right. I don't know.
I could go into my closet right now and come out and be like, guys, the animal in my closet told me that in 100 years this thing's going to happen. See, I can really see the future.
Well, you wouldn't have to wait 100 years. I could tell them what's going to happen tomorrow.
I mean, I guess.
Maybe.
I suppose.
What you do is you throw it in the river, and if it floats,
You burn it?
then you burn it.
You burn it.
A duck.
Is it a duck?
The point of me bringing this up is that it didn't work. So
All right, cool. I just was trying to figure out where he was at with his attempt.
well, most people didn't go to school back then. Lukas might have just been kind of simple.
Hey, he figured out how to use a computer.
He just yelled at it. He just said stuff to
That's right. He was
to the
not
devil
typing.
lights. Yeah, he just spoke to it.
True.
So
Oh,
Hey,
by the way,
Siri.
summon
Google.
9 demons, Siri.
Alexa, what is Lukas doing right now?
Alexa, can you translate this? Yeah, crappy.
Half beef? Shit.
Doner kebab.
My headphones fell off. Shit. That's German, isn't it? That's not even
Doner
English.
kebab.
Yeah.
I mean, you can get them all over. They're definitely all over London, though. You pop around, you fuck around and catch a doner kebab anywhere.
So they start talking to the sheriff because Lukas apparently convinced the sheriff to go to his house and find the light box and he could talk to the future people. So he did. And at this point, a third party intervenes into their communication.
Was it one?
No, it's someone or a group of people that are identifying themselves as 2109.
So a group of 4 people and one was one of the 4 people?
Wait, what?
2109. Never mind. Keep going.
That's like 2,000 or something.
Huh?
Never mind.
I didn't get that at all.
You said one is the one that brought the box in.
Oh,
and you said
he's there with
2109.
2, 0, and 9?
Yes.
Got you. Maybe,
That was
yeah.
my question.
Possibly. Or they're from the year 2109.
Right, or they live at
Ooh.
2109 Stevens Ave South.
Yes,
Yes.
They might also live there.
You never know. You do never know with these magic boxes.
With these green boxes, man.
And they start giving them messages about how, like, basically saying they're fucking things up and they're going too far with this communication and, like, please stop.
Now, who's fucking up? 2109 is or the
2109
1506 is?
2109 is intervening into the communication between Ken
Yes.
in 1984 and Lukas in 1545
Right.
to say, you guys are doing too much. You're going to start messing with the continuum.
I know you could fuck around. Trump's going to be president.
Right.
Said too much.
So
Look where we
Or
are.
not enough, perhaps.
Well, that's true.
Ken and his girlfriend was Deb. They leave a message for 2109 because they want to be able to talk directly to them and figure out what in the fuck is going on with all this. So they just type into this Word document, this 80s Word document, calling 2109 ? And they get
Is this turned into Ghost Rider?
yes.
Yes!
Sick.
They get a response that says Ken, Deb, and Peter. We are sorry that we can give you only two choices. You either have your predicament explained in a way that you may have instant understanding but cause what should not be to happen, or two, you try to understand that you three have a purpose that shall in your lifetime change the face of history. We, 2109, must not affect your thoughts directly but give you some sort of guidance that will allow room for your destiny. All we can say is that we are part of the same God, whatever he or it is.
All right. Have a good day.
So they now have...
Late.
They now have this weird...
Holler.
They've got like multiple contact points in the past. They have maybe one in the future, but they don't know who it is. And they just keep... Sims is dying. And they just keep giving them weird cryptic messages.
Achieve your destiny.
Yeah, like, we can explain
Goodbye.
shit or not. Peace.
Yeah, but we can't. We could, but we can't.
Your
then-
choice here will affect the outcome of history.
They then get
All right, check you
connected back to Lukas, but weird shit keeps intervening from 2109. And they begin to suspect, Lukas and Ken do, that 2109 is intercepting and changing their messages to each other.
Are they not under the assumption that this authoritarian group is the one that may have placed the space box in?
They also suspect that.
Okay.
Yes. So they suspect a couple things. One, that 2109 may have placed the computer in 1545 in Lukas's house. And two, that they've been monitoring their communications and maybe altering them to either remove information or add false information.
I have a question that I think you already covered.
Okay.
Are we to believe that Lucas's house was in the location of Ken's house, physical in space?
Yes, they are living in the same space, and Lukas can see Ken and Deb and their roommate Nicola in his house.
Whoa.
So they are
Hachi machi.
they are essentially ghosts in his house.
Okay.
And at one point, he requests that Ken
they cut it out.
Yeah,
No.
Ken, hey, wrap it up, Ken.
that
Guys, I'm trying to sleep.
that Ken have his woman play that lovely instrument more often.
Yeah, he
I don't know if that's a- yeah.
he is.
I don't know how literally
winky,
that's to be.
winky.
Ken just goes to his girlfriend. He's like, "Listen, honey, I don't know, but
He wants you to play the instrument.
Lucas for 1500.
Play it. Play
I'm not
it.
asking.
Look, you don't want 2109 to pop in here.
So they're now concerned that they're being spied upon by 2109.
Uh-huh.
So they stop using the computer. I think it's important to note at this point also that obviously the internet didn't exist in 1984. So this is a computer not connected to any other computers or anything
I mean,
else.
it's a time portal it's connected to.
Well, right, but I'm saying by traditional means. Obviously,
Things
there's
that are not the Matrix.
there's obviously like a Space Ghost connection, but not like a Wi-Fi connection.
Space Ghost?
Yeah.
I remember Space Ghost.
So they stop using the computer and they start just writing notes and leaving them in the living room instead because they live in the same house.
Right.
Right.
You just have a blackboard on the wall. Just be like, sup? Hey.
Well, they didn't, and that's why Lukas was writing shit on the floor.
Okay, fair.
Yeah. I don't think they had blackboards in 1545.
They did have dogs.
We were
blood,
wrong
though,
about
and
the
it was-
printing press and wrong about when the first computer was invented, so we could be wrong about that.
So Lukas starts getting kind of freaked out about all this and the fact that, he's being threatened with death in his timeline. And
Punked in the worst way.
now there are future people that are like leaving weird, cryptic, threatening messages that I'm not sure I don't know how he's understanding modern English. Because you got a guy in 1984 translating it.
Good point. But
How
it doesn't really
how
work
is
the other
simple
way.
ass uneducated Lukas transcribing and understanding modern English from the 80s?
It's a good point.
Hey, what doth bra mean? Good sir.
Because he obviously doesn't have like an 80s English expert at his local university in
right.
1500.
It does not work in reverse.
Right. So
Tubular. What is this tubular?
What is gleaning the cube?
So Lukas is getting freaked out, and he decides to come clean about like, hey, that's not who I really am, and maybe you should know who I am because we have this weird, spooky action at a distance love connection time portal thing going on here.
Mm-hmm.
And
You've got mail.
he reveals, dude, it's like The Lake House. You ever see that
I
movie?
love that movie.
Yeah? Do you actually know what I'm talking
Sure,
about?
Keanu Reeves.
It's Keanu Reeves, right?
Yeah,
I never saw
and,
it.
Sandra
Morgan Freeman?
Bullock.
Yeah.
Come on.
Morgan
Yeah,
Freeman?
no,
They write
no.
love letters to each other, but they've been at the lake house, but they're only removed from the lake house by like 8 months or
It's
something.
it's exactly
Whoa.
that
It's
situation.
the same thing, except the timeline is not 300 years. It's like 4 days
Whoa.
Yeah, they're in love with
Whoa.
each other because
from
they're
like 2 summers ago.
they're like
It's-
both ghosts in the same house at different times, and they write letters and put them in the mailbox to each other.
Yeah.
I saw it in the theaters. It was dope.
You saw it in the theater.
Yeah, dude.
Is it?
Incredible. I only saw the preview, but
Is it a?
I know it.
I've seen the whole
I know the movie
man.
back and front.
Is this a love story or like a
Yeah.
scary movie?
No, it's
You
a
know,
love
it's kind of
story.
both.
Okay.
Pizza Hut, Taco Bell, one roof.
Yeah, it's like that.
Woo!
So he tells them at this point
It's basically Speed 4.
that he is
Low voltage.
Very slow. Speed 4. Slow.
Speed 4.
first gear.
Retribution. You fucking took your girlfriend to 5 speed movies. Here you go, dickhead. This one's on you.
Lukas tells them that his name is Thomas Harden.
Okay.
And
Beard.
that Thomas Harden.
Beard.
The
Houston Rockets.
great
So good. Yeah, totally.
great grandfather of James Harden.
Yes. And he is he works at some church in this village, and he gives them some verifiable information about himself.
Mm.
And
But verifiable where? To the annals of history.
right, like they
Like
went
in
to
a history book somewhere.
right, like they went to some whatever church he said he worked at, and they apparently had records going back 400 years of people who worked there.
Okay.
That's real. There are very old churches over there.
Yeah,
Sure.
everything's old in England, man.
Sure. And documented. So.
Right.
True.
Right. And he says that he is going to write a book about his experiences with this interaction that when he writes it should then appear in the future.
In real time.
Right.
Right.
So,
He's like, if
This is like a Back to the Future situation here.
yes.
This is like Biff on the sports bets.
ooh.
Yes.
Yep.
Love
But
it.
in reverse.
But it's like the butterfly effect.
Right. As he's writing it, it should be, it's like when Marty McFly is carrying the photo around and people
Exactly.
start disappearing from it.
Yeah.
It's the inverse of that. He's writing this
start
book
appearing
into
in the
yeah,
photo.
exactly.
I've seen that
exactly.
movie.
Nice. 2109 gets really pissed about this because now
Because they're fucking up the arc.
now you're actively trying to fuck up the timeline.
That's not tight.
And 2109 goes on this long rant about aliens and intergalactic travel and tachyons and stuff.
Can I just be a little bit judgy of 2109 right now?
Sure, it's less fun that way, but go ahead.
If you're gonna open up a portal between two people 400 years apart and just assume that neither of those people are gonna be like, this is pretty weird, I'm gonna tell
Well-
everybody about it.
Hold on though, because we don't know that 2109 initiated this contact.
Oh, I thought we were I see.
You could assume
They-
that, but they've never stated that.
and the people involved suspected that.
But it could be that there's some sort of intergalactic time cops.
Got it. And a rip happened and they were like, yo, not tight.
Right.
Stop.
We got to shut this down.
Stop. So the rip.
Steve went through the portal and dropped off that computer at Lucas's house. We've got to, we got to do damage control now.
Got it.
Maybe. I don't know.
They
Shit's
gotta-
probably made up anyway.
Well,
But they left this really long.
His name was Lucas Ron Hubbard.
you might know him.
2109 left this very long, very cryptic message at this point that says, time, UFOs, and most other types of paranormal phenomena are in some way all connected. They then go on to describe the passage of some sort of temponaut, which is like an astronaut, but who travels in
Fast.
time. Yes. It's like it's a time traveler.
Tight.
And they start to, I'm not going to read the whole thing because it's crazy and long, but they start talking about how there's life outside of their planet and there's life many, many places, and that they use tachyons to facilitate time travel and communication across time.
Sounds like a dinosaur.
A tachyon is a real thing. It's a hypothetical particle that, if it existed, could move faster than light, which would maybe allow for communication.
Side note, you just said is a real thing that hypothetically exists.
It's the concept is real.
Sure.
Yes.
Yes.
It's a real concept in physics.
As in 2109 did not invent the concept,
Correct.
but the concept is hypothetical in nature.
Yes.
Got it.
It's a hypothetical.
With it.
No. The particle is hypothetical. We haven't observed it because by definition, we couldn't observe something that moves faster than light.
True. All right, I'm with it.
And they go on this rant about how they don't physically time travel, but you can send information, blah, 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 blah. And basically they tell them to knock it off. And if you guys communicate anymore, we're just going to delete it and possibly you from this timeline.
Oh, dip.
Yeah.
That's... Damn.
You will be deleted.
And at the end of the message, it actually says, like, this message probably doesn't make any sense to you because we deleted all of the stuff about it before you read it.
Wow.
Which I don't know why you would then send the message. I don't understand.
Just to send a message.
Right. Just general.
Like
I can
on some
create and
weekend.
destroy without you even.
Yeah.
Because I guess you can just hit the little, like, the flashy light Men in Black pen again after they
Sure.
read it anyway,
Sure.
right? If that's what we're doing here.
Sure.
Woo!
So we're almost to the end of this, I promise.
No, I'm really I'm just trying to figure out when the girlfriend comes back into play here. Where has she been in this whole time? She's been gone, writing these fucking messages.
Well,
Minus
maybe.
2109.
Eventually.
This dude kills himself, right? 1984 guy?
Bro, he wrote the book though, right?
Yeah, no,
Is this him?
he's writing this book. He's out there somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Ken Webster.
If you guys know Ken Webster,
Yeah.
tell him to get on the show.
So eventually, Lucas/Thomas gets evicted from his house for doing all this weird shit and
For being a
summoning
summoner of demons.
and whatever else he's doing. And the last thing he says is that he's written the book, or is writing the book, and before he dies, well, first of all, he wrote it in Latin because he figured that would probably survive, I guess. And he's hidden it somewhere, and there's no information in the book about where he's hidden it.
Well, that doesn't do anybody very much good, does it, Thomas? Shit.
So, as far as I could tell, this Thomas Harden guy existed. He claims to have written a book and hidden it somewhere in Latin, describing all of this stuff from his point of view. So if any of it's true, there should be a matching book to the 1980s book from 1554 talking about all the same shit.
Okay, listeners in the UK, remember how we told you guys that we were going to set up a treasure hunt?
It's just this.
Ready?
We need you to find that book.
Go.
It's probably at the Vatican Library or something.
Starting today. Ooh, that's an interesting place for it.
We also should probably do an episode about the Vatican at some point.
Yeah, didn't a listener suggest
so.
that? Actually, I think somebody wrote us. It was just a no subject email, and the content was the Vatican. And that was the entirety of the email. And I think Spencer responded with like, you mean like a show about like,
well, there's
all
one
of it?
dude. There's one dude who keeps sending us emails where he'll type whatever he wants to say in the subject of the email and then leave the whole body blank.
I think, yo,
I'm not sure about these new computers. Why are you from 1509?
it's Thomas
I think it's Lucas sending us shit.
I think I figured out what it is. I think it's somebody who's going to our website and because those emails come in through the website. So they're just not actually putting anything into the body part and they're just typing their message into the subject.
isn't that the same thing as doing that in an email, though?
Well, yeah, but I'm saying if you don't scroll down far enough on the form, you might not even see that there is a body.
Maybe he's just
be like,
speaking-
here's what it's about.
He might just be speaking to the light box.
He's just being he's being judicious with his time space usage of communication.
Fair enough. We should take a quick break and come back with one or two more weird time stories.
Yeah, I'm gonna talk about a weird experiment that gets into potentially people being able to. We'll talk about whether time can work both ways in the way that we're talking about it right now.
Oh yeah.
We'll be right back.
Out of mind, out of matter. Out of time, out of standard. Caught it on a sine wave on a 12 scanner. Lot of signs is a nail for each hammer. Out of mind, out of matter. Out of time, out of standard. Caught it on a sine wave on a 12 scanner. Lot of signs is a nail for each hammer. Gotta know.
Yeah, dodge the okie doke, rolled your hope choke, eyes be overflowed, and so bloodshot, burning up a moon rock, hotter than a sunspot, surfing on a moonshot, belly full of gut rot, turkey full of
I'll be at the Knucklehead set in Bloomington, Indiana.
Yup.
On Wednesday, December 10th. Come on through. Been telling some new. Been trying out. I got a tight 8. I got a loose 4. Just gonna go up there and riff.
Wait, is that bars? Or is
Just
that
go up there and riff. Let the people know what I got.
I got to lose 4 bars.
I got a tight half
I got
a
a
verse.
tight 8 minutes.
And,
Look, I love being at the Chatterbox here. It's incredible to be back in Anchorage. Last time I was here, there's a moose joke, right?
Insert moose joke.
Moose joke here.
Moose. Yeah, that's classic Anchorage material.
You got time stories, bro?
So cold. Hey, it's so cold today that my car
How cold?
started and then turned off.
Your
I've
car-
never had it. Like I've had
Why
my
is your
car
car
not
so
start.
shitty?
My car started and I was like, cool, gonna put it into gear. And it was like, nah.
Bro,
No, you're not.
It's cold.
I need to reconsider.
Hey.
I know what you want to do, but I do not want to do that. I don't have a good time. Well, I have one good time story, but I know you had another one. Do you want to tell
Oh
your
yeah,
other
we can
one
talk
first?
about weird portals underneath London.
All right, let's talk about that. And then mine's
Oh
a
my
shorter
God,
weird
that's-
time experiment.
That sounds great. I can't wait.
It's the Woolwich foot tunnel.
Can I tell a real quick story about
Yes,
what's underneath
absolutely.
London first?
I would love that.
Okay, so they just something was fucking up the sewer system.
Godzilla.
Although London, I mean, of course, it's like Godzilla, right? But it's always just rats or some kind of form of nasty thing.
Gunk.
But apparently, it actually is gunk, and we're talking about gray water, not brown water here. Like this is like sink water.
Okay.
It's runoff water from like washing your hands or taking a shower or whatever. They found something that is like the size of 2 double-decker buses.
Oh, bro.
Do you know what it is?
It's
They
a blue
call it
whale.
a fatberg. And what it
Pardon?
is congealed fats like cooking oils and things like this
Damn.
that have found each other and made a
That's kind of beautiful.
glacier
It is.
of fat.
That's poetic.
I love it.
Through all the twists
Did
and
you see
turns
the video?
underneath London,
No,
they all
it's a
found
video
each other.
of the fatberg.
Dude. We're gonna
Let's watch it on the pod right
let's
now.
get the trash can
Let's
ready.
get the live reaction.
Let's get the trash can ready.
So while you're looking that up,
Yeah.
can I tell you about other things that happen underneath London?
Okay. But
Okay,
then we're
cool.
gonna have to take a break to show the fatberg.
That's fine. So there's this pedestrian walkway underneath the Thames called the Woolwich Foot Tunnel, and it opened in 19.
Underneath the Timbs. I love it. Sick. Get shit ready for winter, guys. It is cold after all.
It opened in 1912, and it closed for a while in 2011 for repairs. And there were the guys who were working on the repairs in the tunnel claimed that time moved differently when they would enter the tunnel. So no matter how long you were in the tunnel for, when you came back up, it was the same time that you had gone in.
Oh, like Interstellar.
Yes. So
Right.
so they would show up for work in the morning at, let's say, 8, and they go down and they work for
they leave at
they work for 9 hours and they come out at 8:03. And it was starting to be a problem because the construction company.
Because they didn't know where the fuck they were.
Well, no, the guys who were working while they were down there, time seemed to pass normally, but they would come up, and their foreman or whoever would say, bro, you started working 2 minutes ago. You gotta go do stuff. I can't write off that you worked for 8 hours because you were down there for 3 minutes. Do you have the fatberg? Fatberg.
This sounds like a really good like labor ploy. Like somebody
Totally.
You gotta make all these stories less fun and find reasonable, logical answers. Jesus Christ!
Oh my God! Oh my God! Look at the fatberg. 3 in the morning, got the fatberg.
Oh no! What he's cracking it open. It looks like the inside of a Reese's cup.
It kind of does.
Oh yuck! Why did that make it so much
this is like Ghostbusters 2.
It kind of looks like dirt too, though. Are they like?
Yeah.
There's got to be a bunch of other shit stuck to that, right?
It's like sediment and shit. But
Ram John. That's the guy's name is
Gavin
Ram John.
His name is
Ramwan. What's the name of this video if people want to look? Oh Jesus!
Oh my
He's
God.
just poking it with a shovel. What's the name of this video?
they had to. They're like carrying out bricks of it, dude. I'm gonna yarts. It's called 130-ton fatberg causing stink in London sewers.
Gross.
Can you imagine that air? Can you imagine having to work on that down there? Would you not just barf yourself?
Well, you only put in 3
no one would
minutes a
notice.
day. You call it a high 8 hours. It's good to go.
Yeah, maybe that's how that happened in the first place.
Exactly. You've seen what's under there. Yeah, no, it's a time portal. It must be a time portal. Crazy. I swear it was 9 hours.
You just
It's so gross. You just start hallucinating down there.
can I read a quote from one of the guys who claims to have worked in the time portal?
Hell yeah, you can.
Okay, it's kind of long. Stay with me. I was one of the first ones to experience it. We were working from both ends, as it were, and had tents on both sides of the river. It was pretty basic. If you wanted something from the other side, you just had to walk it through the tunnel. So the foreman's on the other side, and he radios me to ask across. I think he means bring something across. So I walk through the tunnel, the long walk we called it, and it's kind of spooky because no one else is down there. They're all working on the lift shafts, and I get up to the other side, find the foreman, and his eyes nearly pop out of his head and says he radioed me only a minute ago. How did I get there so quickly? He wouldn't take my word for it that I'd walked. Reckoned I'd had a buggy down there or something, that it was some kind of prank.
How long? What was the distance?
It was...
How long should it have taken him?
Good question.
How remarkable was it?
I don't know the answer, but
it was less than 2 minutes. We know that.
It should have been 1 minute and 20 seconds, and he showed up in 1 minute and 10.
That's crazy.
But they eventually decided to test this because he was saying as soon as I'd go into the tunnel, you would appear at the other side, like instantly. And so they eventually tied a rope to one of the guys and had him walk down there, and he had a red flag in his hand. The idea being that they wanted to see so they were going to have him walk away from them on one side, and they were going to watch him walk away.
And see how long
it actually took from their perspective, and then also have somebody on the other side to say, this is when he got here.
And they're also like measuring the rope and shit too.
Right. So they're measuring the actual distance, and they have a visual cue of he's going to pop up on the other side waving a red flag saying, okay, here I am.
This is always the funny thing to me about these stories is like, if it's just a guy, like, what was the dude's name? Vince or who was the guy from the last story? The vertical plane guy?
Which one? The 1500s or the
guy that wrote
the
it?
1980s guy.
The guy that wrote it.
Ken Webster.
Ken Webster. So, like, the Ken Webster story, right, like his girlfriend's fucking with him or he's crazy and trying to get books sold or whatever. I
mean, the easy answer is always that these stories are just fictional because who's going to try and go verify any of those things?
Right. But I love the details of, like, a bunch of construction workers in a tunnel, like, hey, Dave, come here. We're going to tie this rope around you. This is fucking weird. Here, hold this flag.
Get him a flag.
Get him a flag.
I got one. Give him a flag.
You're not going to be able to see him if he's not carrying a flag. Fucking come on. We got to figure this out.
I like how this
it's all in New York.
This tunnel
London,
in jolly old New York.
Oi, Dave, carry this flag, yeah?
So,
give him a flag.
Dave, we've got 4 minutes, Dave. Did we nail it, guys?
Measure the rope.
so
Twitter roasts us for our impressions. I'm sure I'm going to take fucking heat for that.
You did great.
they tie the rope around Dave, and they send him down the tunnel.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say, like, you're really committed. these details of people being this committed to like that to me always adds credence to their really believing something fucked up.
Well, this
happening.
is the scientific method.
You
just gotta test it, right? You got a hypothesis, you gotta test it.
Let's go.
Right.
Yeah.
Give them a rope.
Right.
This is all coming from a website called portalsoflondon.com, by the way.
Perfect.
And they have a bunch of, this is one story, and they update it pretty frequently, but they have lots of other weird, any sort of anomalies in London, they document. It's pretty tight. So they tie this rope around Dave, and they have him go down there, and there's at one point a curve in the tunnel. And it was about maybe 50 to 100 feet from where Dave started.
Oh, man. Uh-oh.
And he gets to this little curve, and as soon as he goes out of sight from where he started,
The rope just jerks the dude holding it like a million feet.
So he instantly gets a radio from the guy on the other side who says, all right, he's here.
Cool.
And now the rope is like taut. So Dave starts getting really freaked out because he's hearing both these communications, and he's being told by two other people that he's in two places at once. So he comes just like halfway back around the corner, and he can now see both people. So it sounds like it's not just a time issue. There's also some sort of spatial weirdness happening. Huh?
It seems like there's some sort of mirror here.
But as soon as he went around this one corner, he was apparently in two places at once, verified by two
witnesses,
possibly fictional witnesses.
Either side.
I like it.
That is, yeah, I guess that's more like space travel than time travel, isn't it? No, because it is.
I don't know. And I guess all of this stuff seems like 3% plausible to me.
Right.
Just because I think we all know on some level that time
is a flat circle by a Buick. That's what I learned, at least from Matt McConaughey. Back to Interstellar. The thing about time is if you loop around the planet too fast, you can be down there forever. Your kid's going to be 95 by the time you see it again.
Right. But I think we've all experienced time not being consistent, right? Even just in the sense of like you lose track of time, or something seems way longer than something else based on what you're doing or who you're with or where you are. And then we also know on a physics level that it is possible for time dilation to happen.
It does happen. I mean, that's like scientifically proven.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
Right.
And the concepts in Interstellar, although they didn't happen to Matthew McConaughey, are technically allowed by physics. So it seems like just the slightest bit possible that we don't understand all of that shit yet. And maybe if you go underneath a river in London, weird time shit happens.
So we're going to ask people who live out there to test this out for us. Don't forget your flags and your ropes.
I mean, if anyone wants to investigate the Woolwich foot tunnel for us, I would love to hear about personal experiences.
You said, huh?
No, it's open again. It was closed for about a year and a half in 2011 to 2012 while they were doing repairs, but it's open now.
We're putting a heavy burden on our UK listeners this week, but we're going to need you guys to find a book and a foot tunnel.
The foot tunnel, I mean, I can tell you exactly where it is, so that part should be pretty easy if
Let
you live
them
in
know.
London. Yeah.
I'm sure that you could Google it, too.
I'll post pictures. I got pictures of the entrance and everything. We'll post them. You going over there anytime soon?
Not till June.
Okay.
So hopefully I get to the bottom of this before June.
Please do.
Or if not,
God, I'm going to be dipping around that thing in June.
We're going to have to have you back when you come back.
Bring a microphone with you. We have our live
correspondent. What you guys probably should set up on either side of the thing. We'll do a pod live from two places at once.
Possibly three.
Possibly three, possibly, who knows?
What if we rip a hole in the space-time continuum and
that's what if. That's the whole podcast. That's the entire name of the whole show.
That is the intent. Let me ground your whole like time works in weird ways thing in a quick experiment.
Try and give us real information?
Nah, well, it is real information, but I think it's like it leads to the 3% shit you're talking about.
Okay.
There's this guy. His name's Daryl. Daryl is a professor at Cornell University. He's a psychologist.
Is he the first Professor Daryl to exist ever?
Well, his last name is Bem.
See, he started by doing these equations on the math board.
Professor Daryl Bem, Dr. Bem, in 2011 publishes an article called Feeling the Future. And
Wait, sorry, he's a professor of what?
psychology.
Okay.
Social psychologist and
He
professor.
doesn't know shit about time. Keep going.
Well, he does a bunch of stuff about like
Name's Daryl.
self-perception theory and decision-making in psychology and shit like that. So he, in 2011, he puts out this paper after having done 9 different experiments that all relate to the passage of time and perception of time theory. And I'm only going to talk about one, and it's a little weird, but it's the easiest one to explain. So they do an experiment with 100 different kids at the university, right? They give them a computer screen with instructions that say this. This is an experiment that tests for ESP. It takes 20 minutes and is run by computer. You will answer questions, and on each trial of the experiment, pictures of 2 curtains will appear side by side. One of them has a picture behind it, the other a blank wall. Click on the curtain you feel has a picture behind it. The curtain will open, permitting you to see only if you selected the correct curtain with a picture behind it.
Okay.
Several of the pictures contain erotic imagery. If you object to seeing such images, you should not participate in the experiment.
Stop being such a creep, Daryl.
Daryl was showing college kids porn. That is a true thing. But of the 100 cases, students had a hit rate of 53.1% on guessing which curtain had the image behind it.
Okay.
And that doesn't sound like a lot, but that hit rate is also akin to things like the success of aspirin against heart attacks and a couple other scientific things. It's like a 0.2 or something like that on the causality
It's
or like actuality
statistically
scale.
significant?
Statistically significant in a way.
Okay.
So that's one experiment he did, and over the course of the 9, he basically makes an argument that there's a chance that there's some sort of fluidity in time. That like these kids...
That was his conclusion from that experiment?
Basically, well,
Look,
because,
if you
okay...
flip a coin 100 times.
Yeah, right.
And you get 53,
54.
you must have time traveled
You
into
must
the
have time
future
traveled.
at
No,
least 3 of those times.
I think,
Exactly.
I think what he was saying is that there's a statistical significance to people's ability to predict that. And if that's true, does that mean that you can somehow like sense things that have not happened yet?
I understand that. It just seems way more likely to me that there was some sort of bias in the experiment or the way that this program was written that allowed people to guess at a slightly better than
I'll
chance.
select the neon curtain with all the lights on it.
Yeah, right.
That one looks like there's nudies behind it.
I'll select the one with the dick on it.
I like that I give like the first thing that came from Cornell in this podcast, and Spencer's like, that shit's probably wrong. Meanwhile,
Yeah.
we spent 40 minutes being like, there was a computer in 1500.
Well, it could be.
Well, no,
Your
obviously.
story sounds like it came from Chris
No,
Cornell.
see the things that I say, we all go into it knowing they're wrong. It's different.
All right. I'm not saying this is right, but I am saying that I think there's a decent amount of like,
Wait, was there more of that? Did he find out that 3 of the kids were time travelers?
no, they didn't.
It's actually tempo knot, please.
Sorry, you're right.
A tempo knot, please. Yeah, if we're gonna use the terminology.
not disrespect 2109.
The parlance of our tempo.
Yo, can the show notes for this episode just be contacting 2109 ? And see if they get back to us?
Hell yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Or that plus some of the
Hey, I think we should leave some notes left on our computers.
maybe.
But they're on the internet.
Should
Is
we
that
call
cheating?
this episode "What If You Contacted 2109"?
Sure.
And then
We'll call it 2109 Avenue South.
that is not where we live, by the way.
You can send them nice things if you want, though.
Send
That's
who?
probably like, what was that, 55405 maybe?
Who knows, man?
Yeah, it might be.
Send what? Send things to those people?
Yeah, as long as they're nice things.
Let's not shout out people's addresses on the internet at all.
Okay.
That's not even a real house. No one lives there.
Yeah, you're right. I'll put some elephant noises over the address.
It wouldn't be the first time we've had to self-edit.
You can find my Twitter account at Sims Doomtree if you're looking for the correct address.
Speaking of men, you got some stuff coming up soon?
Yeah,
You
I'm
wanna
on
talk
tour.
about it?
I definitely want to. I definitely want to talk about it a lot.
We probably got some people in those places that listen to this thing.
Sure, yeah. Come out. I'll be at the Chuckleheads. In Columbus, Ohio. Where am I going to be? Well, you can check.
Where do people get
Just
that
send people
information?
to wherever you want to send them.
What day are we putting this out?
Tomorrow.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'll be on the West Coast. I'll be in Seattle, Portland, San Francisco, and Los Angeles this next week.
Tight.
And then I'll be dipping back for my second appearance on What If.
Yeah.
And then and then more tour. You can go to doomtree.net and check us out. Come see the show. It's gonna be fun. We've never done this kind of thing before. Shredders, Dangerous Jumps, the album tour. Beak and Paper Tiger. Basically, we broke down all the stems of these songs, and now we're gonna play them again live, and probably make a ton of mistakes and make it really fun this way.
Awesome.
And then me and POS gonna just rap, just really rap hard, and make sure we have a sweaty, fun, good time.
Astronautilus is with you guys for those two?
And Astronautilus, the amazing Astronautilus.
Hell yeah.
Yes, Tempo Knot, Astronautilus himself.
Tempo Nautilus.
Oh man, you should see him.
Ooh.
All right.
All right, man.
You got any other weird time stuff before we get out of here?
Oh shit, we do have one weird time thing that's very important.
Yeah.
That's next Sunday at 3 p.m. Central Time.
That's January 7th.
This coming Sunday, I guess I should
Yes.
say, because it's coming out on Tuesday. We're doing our first live episode on the Facebooks.
Hey.
Y'all requested. We have honored. We haven't gotten a ton of questions in yet. We've gotten a few, but we could definitely do it more. So anything y'all want to know about the show,
Can I submit one?
of course, you can submit it right now.
I just want a quick rundown of the Harry Reid Area 51 space program.
Oh, we'll talk about that on the live show for
I'm sure we
sure.
will.
Oh man, I can't wait.
You got to listen to 2 weeks ago's episode, though.
We also did do a whole
And
episode
did you
on
guys
it.
do a whole deep dive on it?
Yeah, it was like a full 60 minutes on the program, and
That's amazing.
yeah, it was pretty wild.
I'm sure we'll talk about some weird Tom DeLonge UFO shit
Why
on
not?
Sunday, though. Yeah.
Why not? But yeah, so come hop on the live with us. It'll be in the Facebook group. Search groups for the What If Podcast, or just go to our Facebook page, facebook.com/whatifpod. We'll tweet it all, and come hang out with us, and thank y'all for all the reviews and the love, and it should be a fun time.
We're a year old.
We're a year old on that day, on Sunday. Yep. On Sunday, I didn't actually know that I think we accidentally picked the 1 year anniversary of the show, which is
beautiful.
Which is a perfect convergence of time.
Boom!
Full circle.
Congratulations, guys.
Thanks.
Hey, like and subscribe, YouTubers. Make sure to share this podcast with all your friends.
Smash that subscribe button.
Smash that subscribe button. All right, shit. That's it. We love y'all. We'll talk to you soon.
We'll be back next week with another episode of the What If Podcast. Learn more at www.whatifpodcast.com.
Mad gluten, no, rip into a Camelite, spit along into a bitter night. Yeah, faith is not a thing I do. Space is kind of all I need. Probably break a thing or
Not
two.
too good for the word, that's the tip of the bird. Then he bunny hop curb and he flipping the bird. Put the money where the word's from, called in stoned. But he keeps getting checks like keys, wallet, phone. Fuck, forgot, I'm on there more than ever. The kid a heavy shredder, by any measure, couldn't feel any better.